let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Hi everybody, welcome back to another session on building your financial wealth. And today I am so pumped to talk to you about our next topic, and we're going to be talking about measuring your goals. The past two sessions we've been talking about starting with a clean slate, that was one, and then defining your goals, where I gave you a little tidbit of how to do that. And today we shall go a little in depth into how you measure your goals. I know we haven't gotten to the step before this, but I thought this might be a good way to start and mix it up a little bit, so that when you get to the point of actually implementing your goals, you know exactly what you need to do. And you might notice that song from Tiesto. He's a Dutch DJ, EDM basically music, and I really like it. It's like a really good song. I mean, he's talking about millions. I know that's besides the point, but anyways, so yeah, let's get right into it. So this is the start of a fresh new week, a fresh new month, and I'm hoping that you're all as excited as I am for the new month. It means one more month to the end of the year, one more month to achieving your goals, one more month to building wealth. I mean, it couldn't get any better, right? Okay, so one of the first steps you want to think about when you're measuring your goals and picking up right from where we left off in defining your goals is determining who is going to be your accountability partner, whether you need a coach or whether you need a mentor. And the other thing is really figuring out who your role models are going to be, what's your inspiration behind achieving your goals, and what is motivating you to take inspired action. And if you have those things, are kind of like energizers to wake you up in the morning, and you're like, oh, it's another day, it's a fresh day to achieve my goal, to do something to achieve my goal. Obviously only legal things we're talking about here. And the other really important thing when you're measuring your goals is benchmarking. And this is really key, because you want to figure out what do you need to achieve what you want, and how are you going to measure against that benchmark you're setting for yourself. And when we talk about benchmarking, we're more or less defining points or goalposts throughout the course of your goal or your goal setting strategy that you will use to define whether you have achieved success or achieved what you've wanted, or if you're shy from achieving what you wanted, and how you can catch up and what you need to do to catch up to your ultimate goal or your finish line. And one of the things that we need to realize about benchmarking is that you can do a number of things to help you do it the right way. And one of the ways you can start is by changing the way you create your goal. So, for example, instead of just making random broad goals, you can make your goals smart. You can make them specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. And this is everything I have been talking about in this podcast, is really structuring, creating, designing your goal to suit you, and not looking at what other people are doing, because they have external factors that you may not be aware of. They may be influenced by other things that you are not aware of, but you're only seeing what they're putting out into the public eye. You're not seeing what their journey is, what they've had to go through, what their personal experience is, unless they tell it to you. So you shouldn't be using their benchmark for success or for the goals they want to achieve as yours, because you will feel frustrated and you will feel like giving up, and your goal might just be the best for you. It might just be that goal that is just suited only and only for you and for your DNA. So don't get discouraged by the fact that someone else has a goal that you don't have, and you want to be like them. No, be you. You're unique, and there's no one else who can be like you. I know I'm going to sound like I'm preaching, but it's the truth. And once you let that sink in, life will be easier, things will be easier. You will not feel the pressure to live like the Simpsons. You just be you, and you will give yourself authentically to the world in whatever form that may be. Now, the other thing is you really want to keep track of your progress. Like, it doesn't have to be a daily thing, because in a day you only have like so many hours. You have to work, you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to do all these things that you're doing. So if you schedule at least one day in a week to keep track of your progress, and remember, this is progress that you have written down when you defined what your goals were. So you are now assessing to see how far you've reached, and really doing it weekly is better than stretching it to bi-monthly or at the end of the month or quarterly, because those metrics and those assessment types are good for companies. But then when it comes to your personal individualized goals, it's usually better to always be on track with them, to know what you need, because once you build that habit of continuously reviewing and assessing yourself is when change will happen. It's not going to happen when you postponed, assessing what you're doing or reviewing your behaviors and your actions to down the road. It happens when you start doing it as consistently as you can. And to go along with that, it's really, really important to have an accountability partner. So this can be your spouse, your best friend, your co-worker, your sibling, your parent, your daughter sometimes, or your child could be your accountability partner. And the good thing about having someone else help you be accountable is that they are there to be unbiased and to offer an unbiased opinion, from they're looking in, from the out looking in, as opposed to you just assessing yourself by yourself, because they're going to catch things that you aren't seeing. And let's say for example, I like talking about savings because really we are talking about finance. So let's say you're putting money aside to either buy a car or purchase your first house or go on a trip, and say 1 week you do not do it, and you're like, oh, but I'll do it the next week because of this and this and this. Then you'll have someone who will be like, but you committed to doing this, so why aren't you doing it? And they will help you figure out why you didn't do it, what you need to do. Are you saving too aggressively? Is it too burdensome? Do you need to reduce, to readjust your percentages of how much you're saving so that you feel comfortable? Because again, you really want to do what's comfortable for you. You don't want to overextend yourself such that you feel overwhelmed and deflated because you feel like a failure. We are not trying to do that here. We're trying to get everyone to find their comfort zone in a good way of what works for them, but will positively impact their account balances and their net worth. Because yes, we like money. Money is good. It helps us do things and help people. And in order to do that, you kind of have to have the money to do some of these things. Okay, so you have an accountability partner. What next? So now you want to start thinking about, what does your success look like? And then this is where you really need to write this down. or put it in a spreadsheet, or put it in a Word document, whichever works best for you. You can also put it down in your notes on your phone. I like to use spreadsheets because I love numbers. I love to see how numbers translate into a story. I love to see how I can use numbers to change or adjust situations or to achieve certain goals, because I know, okay, so I need this X amount of money to be able to do this, and in order to get this X amount of money, I need to do this, or I need to increase my sales in this and this and this. And if I want to give away money, then I'm also thinking about how much I'm bringing in and what I need, what I can comfortably give away, and how is that going to affect my cash flow and all that stuff. So if I really encourage you, even though you're not a numbers person, try to learn how to fall in love with numbers, because they are the core of everything. I think I was watching this show. It's a show on Netflix about the Vikings. Yes, Vikings Valhalla. And one of the ladies there, she was from the eastern region, not from the European region. And she was talking about statistics, and she said it's the algebra and statistics is the magic of the world. It is how people change the world. And it is really true. If you know how to add, how to subtract, what numbers mean, and how they can work for you in your journey to build wealth, you can accomplish anything, because you will see for yourself what is realistic and what isn't, and what you need to do to adjust so that you can get what you need. So I do encourage you, just start by doing a simple budget. Okay, you want to traveling is the simplest thing, or if you want to do date nights with the person you love, how much does that actually cost to you? What kind of dates do you want to go to? Do you want to go to fairly affordable dates, or do you want to do some high-end restaurants sometime once a month somewhere with them? How much is that going to cost? How much is it going to cost you in gas? Are you going to have to drive there? What are the meal prices like? How does this affect your budget? How does this affect how much you're getting in, your expenditures, your household expenditures, and all that stuff? If you have to pay debts, how is that going to affect this and that? And then once you figure that out, then you say, oh, so I actually need this amount of money to spend. And you will be accounting for that. Say that will be your spending money, money to have on the side for you to do whatever you want with it. But if you don't know what that number is, then you're just going to be going on a whim, pulling out your card and paying every time, and at the end of the month or even the end of the year, you're like, but I had all this money, where did it go? Girl, it went into that food, and it went into that gas, and it went into that spree that you did because you didn't know that that's how much it was going to cost. So just try to fall in love with it. Teach yourself once a week. Just teach yourself, go on there, play with numbers, even with your goals. When you're setting a goal, you say you want to make what's a realistic goal that I can say you can put? Let's say you want to make 100,000 this year. How are you going to get there? Break that down into months, into a week, or a bi-monthly, depending on how you receive your paychecks or what income streams you have, and break that down into a day. How much do you actually need to make in one day to be able to achieve that 100,000? How much do you actually need to make in one day? And then you will see for yourself, it's boom, your mind will be blown. Okay, so this is exactly what I need. And different people will require different models of getting their money. That's what I call it. It's because you have to refine the model or the budget to suit your needs. Some people have 10 streams of income, some people have 2, some people have 5. It really depends on you. And maybe also the other thing is do you have to increase your revenue streams? Are you able to? Do you have a full-time job where you can't? How can you organize your life around creating more wealth for you? Because once you figure that out, then everything will just fall in place like dominoes. Okay, so we have that. And then the other thing that you should be considering with your benchmarking is like really the check-in and the assessment. Don't assess yourself by yourself. Do it with an accountability partner. I will not harm on this or beat down on this any further. I have said it enough times for you to know that this is really important, especially if you are serious about building wealth. Okay, then the other thing is set both short and long-term goals. So your long-term goal would be generating 100,000 K at the end of the year. What's your short-term goal? It would be, for some of you, figuring out if you need to generate streams of income and how much you need to make in one day. That's your short-term goal, figuring that out. Once you figure that out, then you build the next step. How are you going to do this? Are you going to ask for a pay raise? Are you going to get a second job? Are you going to start a business? Are you going to work over the weekends to generate extra cash? Are you going to do affiliate marketing? Are you going to build a social media presence? Are you going to write a book? Are you going to invest in the stock market? You see, like there's so many things, like figuring out really what works for you. And you don't want to do something you're not passionate about. Like you really want to do something that you feels like a hobby, not something that feels like work. I mean, work is good. You should love your work. Don't get sucked into something if it doesn't work for you. The moment you feel like it's not the right fit, kick it to the curb. I know that sounds aggressive, but it's like the truth. Kick it to the curb and find what works for you. And the sooner you find what works for you, that has a potential to make money, the happier you're going to be and the easier it's going to be for you to make the kind of money you want to make. Okay, and then obviously, last and not least, reward yourself. Every time you achieve your short-term goal, reward yourself. It could be like having a self-care day, or going out with the girls, or spending time with your loved ones, or reading a book, or something that is unique for you, treating yourself to your favorite treat. Stuff like that, like reward yourself. And then when you rewarded yourself, which will hopefully not be for so long, rinse and repeat. And when you're repeating, dial it up a notch, because you're trying to get to the next level. Your goal is to get to the next level, not to stay on the same level. And with the next level, I mean, even if it's like a 5% increase of what you're doing, or a 5% increase in the actions that you're doing, the energy that you're putting into your little babies and your little projects and hobbies, dial it up. If it's being the best at what you do at work, dial it up and be even better than the best, so that you stand out and people recognize you and reward you. So you're rewarding yourself for actions, for achieving a goal, but you want to be rewarded for being the best at doing something. And the only way you can do that is by leveling up. Make it consistent. Like, don't say, okay, this week is so great, I'm gonna be the best at work or be the best at doing this, and then the next week you're slacking. You have to be consistent, and it's really not easy to do this, but it's not impossible either. It's sort of like a culture and a habit that you build, which is why I was saying earlier is that review yourself weekly, because if you review yourself every week, you will see for yourself, and the person who is being accountable with you will see your shortcomings, and you'll see what you need to do to scale up and to get to the next level. And I mean, that's all I have to say on that. Try it. You'll be surprised at what you get. Like, I know not all days are going to be perfect. Some days are going to be hard. You're going to feel like you don't want to do anything. But in those moments, like try and feel, like tune up or get into that vibration and pull yourself up a little bit, even if it means like, getting off the computer or your phone and going for a quick walk, if it's, or just like meditating and being still for a moment so you can dial into a positive vibration and get yourself out of that low vibration so you can be inspired to do something. That is really key. I have done this a lot, so many times. It has helped. Like there are days when I do feel like crap, excuse the language, and I will just be like, okay, so what do I need to do to not feel like this? Because I really don't want to feel like this. And I will either like go spend time with my husband, cook a meal, because cooking, like I really love cooking. I never used to, but when I realized that it's one way to help me level up my vibration or come to that space, that area where I can actually feel like I can be productive, I started loving how to cook. Because I experiment with everything and anything in the fridge, and sometimes I make stuff that tastes really nice, and other times it's like, oh my god, what did I just make? But yeah, cooking really helps. For some people, it would be like listening to music, taking a shower, or walking, or calling up a friend, or reading a book even, or watching one episode of a show. Although really, I don't recommend that, because once you start watching, you may end up going on for hours, and before you know it, the day's over. So I recommend doing things that take at least a maximum of 30 minutes to do, because once the 30 minutes is up, your whole mood will have changed, because you're switching your gears into something different. And in the process of doing that, your mind is also shifting its mood into something different. So when you come back from that 30-minute activity, you feel fresh and ready to go. And that's my advice for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you listen to the other episodes, and I hope you come back for more, because I love to share and I love to help people find and build their wealth. So until next time, ciao.